What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Get Down. This is Beats, Season 3, Episode 10. So we are getting there. The year's almost over, but we're slowly catching up. We're in front of the months now. You see what I did there? Slow to start, and then fucking bring it home, mate. Bring it home. All right, we're not going to fuck around with too much talking at the start anymore. So just want to thank Sir Rec for coming on last week. That was really, really cool. Really awesome interview. Had a lot of fun. Fucking soon as you hung up, I thought about 100 things I wanted to ask him, but that's okay. That's okay. We can revisit that in the future. Too easy. Also want to send out a shout out to Mark Pollard. I don't know if anyone saw on my social media this week, but fucking Mark sent me a copy of the record that we talked about on our episode. So it's the 30-year anniversary of the House of Pain, Shamrocks and Shenanigans album. It's the coloured vinyl, and I was having a bit of a whinge about how it was too hard to get into the country, too expensive to get into the country. And the other day I went to my post box, and there's a big record box there, and it says from Mark Pollard on the back, and I opened it up, and it's the records. So a random act of kindness from Mark that was not asked for, and he did not have to do, but is extremely, extremely appreciated. So thank you, Mark. I'm big on random acts of kindness, and I love doing them to people myself, and to receive one was pretty fucking cool. So thank you very much. All right, moving on to the episode. This week on the Get Down, we are still on the hip-hop tip, and I'm happy to announce that we have some female guests on. That's right, the Get Down does not discriminate. It's just that women don't like to talk to me, all right? So this week, we are joined by two guests in the one interview. So how I'm going to introduce them is a bit of a mystery. So just going to run with this. I've known one of these girls for many years, and the other I don't even believe I've met. So maybe at a gig, maybe might have said hello at a gig back in the day, but I'm not familiar with her at all. So this will be a good opportunity to get to know her. Collectively, they are a hip-hop duo called Outside Lines and making a lot of noise at the moment, but individually, they are known as Kimence and Cate Dyer. So ladies, welcome to the Get Down. All right, what's going on?
Not much.
How you been?
Oh,
Long time. Yeah, we're in. Yeah, we're rolling.
I'm like, oh. Well, that was it. That was a smooth start. Everything's been really smooth about this process. Yeah, we're good. We just attended a rehearsal, but yeah, my mad hay fever kicked in, and then that kind of clamped that shut for a little bit. But I'm all good.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
What are you rehearsing for?
For the block party gig, September 30.
With Mick and all that.
Yeah.
I might fly down for that, eh?
You know what? I think that there's a few people Mick said that might come from interstate, so you should.
Yeah, it'd be a killer.
It's a big man's last gig.
But I've got a bit going on. I've got my daughter's wedding in October. Dev's getting married in October. So it's just like I'm hemorrhaging fucking money, man. But
I know. What is it with weddings? As soon as you say weddings, some people are just like, "Oh yeah, that usual $200 buffet is now $35,000."
Oh my god! Like I said to my daughter, why don't you just run away and like go overseas and like
go and elope somewhere.
That's it, eh? That's what I did. It's just it saves so much hassle, man. Like,
you like how yin and yang? I've got the wine, she's got the tea.
Go, Kate. I'm all team sober at the moment.
I have been for a week.
Oh yeah, good one. So we'll see how pissed we can get Kim by the end of this episode.
Even when I am, you can't tell.
You're a seasoned vet.
I'm harrowed right now. You never know.
Oh, shit. Oh, well, look, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it. It's been a long time. I said in the intro that Kimence, I've known you for a long time, but Kate, I don't think we've ever met in person, eh?
We haven't met in person.
Crazy.
Good today, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I said. It'd be a good opportunity. I'm thinking I've seen you at gigs, but you've been playing, so I've just, been floating around, and haven't really, and you can't really have a proper conversation at a gig anyway,
You know what? I actually have the worst eyesight, so because I don't wear my glasses to gigs, the number of times come past me and I know, like, they'll be like, hey, and I'm like, crap, who was that? I literally can't see.
That's to me. Kate's like, hi. They're like, I'm not talking to you.
And so I panic and I go in with like really enthusiastic answers. And I'm like, I should know this person. And they probably leave thinking, wow, that was intense.
She really liked me.
Really liked me. Made an impression.
Giving boys false hope for years.
Keep going. And you're like, no, stop now.
Yeah, when I'm nervous and I have to feel all the silences, and I'm just like, and in my head, I'm like, just stop, like lips together, just stop talking. And I just can't. I just keep going.
You come up and go,
yeah. I go to Kim and I'm like, what just happened? I'm gonna hide under a table now.
so good.
Far out. It sounds like me. I'm like that. Like if I work with a bloke, he's a client, and when he's quiet, I just feel like I've got to fill that void, and I just talk and talk.
Yeah.
And he goes the other day, he goes, fuck, you can talk, can't you, mate?
Like, well, you can't. I'm actually exactly like that. And if I go into a scenario where like I don't know many people, I'll go hard when I first get on the scene. So I'll arrive at that thing and I'm like, right, I've just got to talk to everyone, just get in there hard at the start. And then I sort of, it's like a whirlwind, and then the night ends and I go home and I'm just like, what did I say? What has been done?
I have those same thoughts, but it's because I'm intoxicated and I can't remember.
Yeah, see, I don't have that excuse. Mine's just from chronic over talking.
Yeah, you can sink him back, can't you, Kim? Fucking hell.
You know, to have a Dino bottle.
I'm just going to say this. So once you girls actually start talking, because of the Zoom, sometimes as I speak, it cuts into your audio. So I've had it happen before. So when I ask you a question, I'll just let you guys speak, but you just look for the visual cues. All right. So thanks for coming on. As I said, we've got Cate and Kim, and together you are
Outside Lines. We didn't even rehearse that.
That was not rehearsed. So you down in Adelaide. What's been going on in Adelaide since I've left? Is it still a shithole?
Yeah. Like, I don't know, scene-wise, it's funny, I actually said to Nick yesterday, the scene doesn't feel dead at the moment. You know, I have to back Sanchez when he, you know, came with that controversial Facebook status, about 2 years ago, when he said, what was it? He put up a GE post, one of their ciphers, and he said something about the scene being dead now. Yeah. So I had to agree with him. Even though I was amongst the scene, I know what he's saying. You know, from those old days to where you'd go to traffic or, you know, go to those sort of gigs and everything would just be rocking hard. And there'd just be quality act after quality act. So I know what he meant. And I have to say, probably even after like he put that flyer together and like with this block party coming up, it is like a clear indication that the scene is actually breathing a little. It's got life, and you know, there's some amazing artists now coming up, and you know, getting that scene, I guess, back up and popping. So I think scene wise in Adelaide, it's back on its feet, and it's a good thing to see. It's refreshing.
It's funny because I am observing from up here now, and I see all these.
Do you agree with that? You know, that it looks like it's coming back.
Yeah, I do, and it's funny because observing from up here, my finger's not on the pulse, so I see like what's old mate fucking hell, Bugsy and stuff like that. I see all these new names coming through, and I feel a little bit left out. But then social media, yeah, Adelaide FOMO. But then the social media sort of makes up for it. You know, you see people and we can kind of get your tentacles out there and still do it. But it does look like it's thriving again. You know, there's like a few names. And it's almost like when we were back doing it, how people, there was Joe, Social Change was off doing his thing. That kind of reminds me of like Frankie D and all them and doing that area. And then you've got Boffer and all that. There seems to be a few different little lanes going. So, yeah, I'm feeling that.
That's right. Because for a while there, exactly, that's a good way of putting it. For a while there, it felt like it was down to one lane. And it just didn't feel like there was enough of a mixed bag. Like, now, I feel like there is such a mixed bag. It all complements each other, though. There's obviously Boffer and Greco doing their thing. Obviously, we do a similar style, but obviously on a different level, being all female. But I feel like the rap and the soul combined really is strong at the moment. Also interstate. It's just obviously like a growing genre in general.
But you started this gangster shit.
Where's the motherfucking thanks to get? No. No. But yeah, and then there's obviously people like Indigo and that are really killing it with some like real hard rap as well.
Where did he come from, man? Where the fuck did he come from?
I don't know. I met him at the Boffer gig, but I definitely heard of him. But that's the first time I saw him perform. And yeah, I was like blown away. And I think really highly of him as an artist. He's going to go a long way for sure. So
he's got the whole package. I just, as I said, looking from afar, finger not on the pulse. It's all social media, and then just like bang, he's just there, like the full. Yeah. The face tats, everything is just like bloop. Yeah. Most people we see come up. Most people we see when you meet them young because we're old now. Kim, we are old. Kate,
I know.
How old are you, Kate?
We don't talk Kate. Right?
I should know better than that. Fucking hell. She's doing the sign. Fingers are going up. Cutthroats.
Cut the tape.
You know what, though? I mean, the other thing is, though, like, the gigs haven't been happening for a couple of years. So,
true.
Literally, start of 2020, the gigs just stopped overnight. And I think that's meant that people just hit the studio hard. So, it feels like it's coming out of nowhere, but I feel like they've probably been recording, like rehearsing at home a lot. Like, now the gigs are starting to come back.
Yeah.
There's a lot of... it feels refreshing because of that. Like, none of us have been on a stage for a while. So it's really like the first time we got back on the stage after, having that big break.
2 years. It was 2.5 years.
Yeah, it's a humbling thing.
Yeah, we last performed at the Clipsal, and then we didn't perform again. No, it wasn't 2.5 years. It was 1.5 years.
But still,
still a long time. Yeah. When we supported Boffer. And then we had another massive break until draft. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So
it's a long time, isn't it?
But we kept busy that whole time. As in, we took that different approach of we weren't going to make EPs anymore or albums. We're going to now head for singles. Yeah. Because my personal opinion is on the albums or EPs. I mean, I do love having that finished product. I love being able to hold that CD or see that finished product in my hand. But not that anyone gets CDs, but I still like them. But the thing is with that, you work hard, let's say for two years, sometimes 3 years, to bring out this completed product of. For example, when I did Collective Flow, it's got, I think, 12 or 13 tracks on it, You work so hard, you release nothing in that time almost. Yeah. Right? Then you have one single that you might drop 2 months before you release that album. That's great. That builds your hype a little bit. Then you release your album, and then it's like, now what? I've just worked so hard for all this time. Unless I continue to now bring these out as clips, but now everyone knows the tracks because the album's been dropped. Yeah. So
you got a tour, really.
So I took a different approach and suggested that don't worry about the, bringing out a collection of 6 tracks or however many at a time. Let's just make a track, assess if we like it enough to do a visual, and if we do a visual, then drop it that way. Because when you get to work with people like Adam Hooley. Shout out to Adam. When you get to work with people like him, who
is that ADM photo?
Yeah.
Fucking
so when he's
dope,
so
man.
he's
So
dope.
good.
He's so sharp. He's on the game. He's awesome to work with.
Yeah, nice person.
When you get to work with people like that, who like you deliver a concept to him and then he executes it perfectly. He just has, he's got this knack about him where you can give him an idea and he seems to really connect with that. I love working with him. So when you get to, if you like a track enough, I'll just call him up and say, hey, let's do a visual. And release it that way instead, because I think it's more rewarding than being on the grind for 2 years or whatever. And then it sort of feels like, you drop it and then you're like, wow.
And then you juggle.
Yeah.
So what was day in, day out? What year did you drop that?
2019, end of 2019.
And that's your last full length.
In 2019, then we did the Crystal start of 2020. Crystal was start of 2020 we only just released that EP a little bit before then, which is what sort of gave us that product to be, to be considered for that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I know, we are losing some years. Yeah.
There's that too. There's that. You need product to sort of get you gigs.
Yeah,
All right, we've jumped ahead. So thanks for coming on, guys. That was really good.
All right, see you later.
We're done. We've exhausted.
So I want to tell the listeners, right, what the fuck has happened. So I didn't get to Kim for an hour late because I'm going to beep that word out, didn't fucking rock up to work for fucking an hour late. So I'm annoyed, and I've got something to do later as well. But that's all right. I've dedicated this time to you. Someone said to me, why don't you just do a half an hour episode? I said, it's 2 guests. I said, we're already 15 minutes in. All right, so I want to go back. I want to jump back to little Kimence and little Cate. Let's go back to... No, we don't have to go back that far. But I just want to get a bit of a feeling about your upbringing. I know, Kimence, you're South Side through and through. But let's... talk a little bit about that, and Cate, because I know absolutely nothing about you. Where did you grow up? What's going on? And then how did you guys get into hip hop? What was your introduction to hip hop?
So for me, I grew up like bottom of the foothills, sort of like Ungley sort of area.
Okay.
And then I live on the west side now, so I'm in Freedom. I love it over there. My favourite part of Adelaide.
West Side.
Yeah, exactly. And then I've been doing singing since I was a kid, so I've always loved doing and making music. And as I sort of grew up, I wasn't into hip hop straight away. I did a lot of R&B singing, and I came into hip hop accidentally, really, because I had some mates from high school that back then had a hip hop group, DAB, that had just they were doing some gigs around, and they wanted a girl singer to come up and do some tracks with them. And I did one track with them, and ended up they said, "Oh, we'd love you to be part of the group." And I kind of just got into. So one of my first gigs with them, I think we were opening. Who was that? I can't even remember who it was now, but it was a big show.
Wasn't it Delta?
It was Delta. Yeah, it was my first show.
Who was the band? Who were you in?
So I was with DAB, and it was my first. Yeah, it was my first show ever, and I had no idea about the scene or what I was getting myself into, and I just sort of jumped up on this abandoned factory and sung my stuff, and I don't think anyone was kind of really expecting that on that night as well. So it was really fun sort of way to get into the scene. But then from there, I kept, I just would jump up on people's tracks here and there. I loved just coming up with things on the spot. So often I would just go into studios and write on the spot. I liked that spontaneous feeling of it. But at the same time, I was also doing a lot of work in bands, soul and R&B groups, and cover bands. And then I also became a vocal coach. So I teach singing and now artist development and songwriting and things as well.
Nice.
So that's what I do for my job outside of, doing it.
That's one of the questions, so well done. You've ticked that off.
Oh, not me ticking all the boxes. But yeah, I met Kimence. We were at Daydream Fever, Cool Cars.
Yeah. Legend.
Album before Daydream Fever. And they had like a spot at the end for some freestyle spots, and Kim jumped up, and I hadn't met Kim before, and she was doing a verse, and I thought, oh yeah, I grabbed the mic off of, I think it was Jessie at the time, and I jumped up, and that's how we met. So just jamming over.
Three harmonies over. I was spinning a verse, and the next thing I hear like these amazing harmonies over it, and I'm like, damn, who the fuck is this bitch? Like,
when I'm doing my thing,
and then I'm like, that's it. I need to get you in the studio. Got her up. We recorded "Beautiful Life" in the next week or two.
Yeah, I think we did it on the spot, so one take, one sort of sitting.
Yeah, and then from there, I was like, oh well, may as well do another one, and here we are, 6 years later. Yeah. So
just loved working together straight away. Like it's always felt really easy.
Yeah, it worked well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good because it is hard to find that. Like, I think with the Droid, we sort of we forced the crew together, right, and then became friends. You know, so to be friends and know that you're working together, then I guess it would be quite pain free. We had a lot of dramas with the Droid. We would fucking fight and bicker, and you know,
we kind of like as in we literally built our friendship on music as well. Though. Yeah. I remember the first time Cate rocked up to do "Beautiful Life." She I remember opening the door. It was like 11 in the morning, and like I didn't know her. I hadn't seen her since that gig, and I opened my door, and she's dragging she's dragging the keyboard down. Downstairs.
Yeah.
And she was sort of coming with all sort of options of what we might be putting together that day. And I watched her, and I'm like, do you need a hand? And then I'm like, well, do you want a vodka? And she goes, oh, I'll have a vodka. And I'm like, now, go. So we started drinking. Yeah, we had a drink. Straight away, and then just vibed. Drink anymore though.
Yeah, I know. I'm a tea drinker now.
Yeah.
Well, are you like actively sober, Cate? Or you today? Yeah, good on you.
Pretty much these days, the last couple of years or so. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I just hit 3 months the other day.
Nice.
Kim, you don't believe that, do you, Kim?
I do it.
No, I feel good. Really, really clear. A lot of clarity, and my health's fucking changed. So I think I'll stick with it. What's that?
Monday to Friday.
I'll block out Monday to Friday. Hang on, no, Monday to Thursday. Monday to Thursday. I won't touch any alcohol.
It's so hard because, like, being in this scene, it's an occupational hazard. You know, so back in the day, I remember people would say, well, do you want to get paid in drinks? We'll pay you more. We'll pay you in drinks. We'll be like, fuck yeah. Or even if you did get paid cash, they'd be like, you've got a tab. You know, you've got a rider. You've got a rider. And we was like, hey.
Yeah.
Bit of this, bit of that. Shit.
Part of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's dangerous. So we... Fucking hell, Cate just wiped out 6 or 7 questions there.
I'm economical. I just
efficient. Efficient as fuck. So going back to your singing, did you have you have formal training then?
Yeah. So I've done training since I was a teenager. Various types of training, and mainly as I got older, a lot of the time it. Because there's different types of training. You can train for different styles. You can train for the stamina. You can train to do to extend your range, things like that. For me now, like a lot of it, because for a while there I was working as a vocal coach during the day and at night time, and I'm also working in bands most weekends. I was also doing for ages there for most of my life, weddings and things like that as well. So a big part of it as well is vocal health and stamina to be able to get through all of those shows and things requires you to keep your voice healthy and know how to take care of it.
Kimence enters screen, right hand side screen, new bottle of wine.
That's like hell. I thought Kate's on. I got enough time to run downstairs, get a bottle and come back up.
Very impressive.
Are you in your new house, Kim? In
Nah.
No.
It's good right now.
Yeah, I won't say where it is. How's that coming along?
The house?
Yeah.
House is done.
Yeah.
So,
Congrats.
but the aim was never to move into it straight away.
Right.
So we'll just I am puffed out. The aim is not to move into it straight away. I just want to furnish it like beautifully and really take our time with the landscape and all that sort of stuff. So it's pretty though. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when you showed us a photo of the block. I was like, "Fuck, that's a good spot, man." I won't say where it is.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, I want to fucking retire out there. That's where I want my ashes, out there.
What people say to me, why are you out there? That's like where old people go. I'm like, yeah, it's still dope.
It's one of my favourite places in the world, man. I love it. I love it. It's beautiful. Beautiful. All right. So where are we? Let me have a quick look to see how many boxes Cate's ticked off.
Yeah.
So that's another one I had. That are you even into hip hop, Cate? Like traditionally, and then we'll go to you, Kim, about how you got into hip hop. But traditionally, did you even listen to hip hop?
I didn't listen to a lot of hip hop in the early stages. Like I did. There was some, like I loved Lauryn Hill, and like there were artists that I liked, but mostly back then, like in the early sort of like in the 90s and early 2000s, I was mostly doing like R&B stuff because that was the stuff I could sing, you know. I mean, peripherally, I did follow like some hip hop artists, but it wasn't until kind of, for me, it's always about the people. So I enjoy a scene. I enjoy getting amongst things. So for me, like especially since working with Kim, I just love, you know, being a part of this sort of being able to jump up and do gigs and that sort of thing together. So it's like about that experience. And the music's good. The music's good. And so, yeah, traditionally I didn't grow up with a lot of hip hop, but definitely something that I've learned to love over the years. So, yeah.
It's refreshing because it breaks up Kim's voice.
I was waiting for that.
Oh, just kidding.
I love the cleverness of hip hop. I've always loved I love lyrics, and I think lyrics are the first things that draws me into a song. So, you know, that's Lauryn Hill got me into hip hop.
Yeah.
Because I just thought she was so clever, and that's what still draws me to hip hop. I love lyrical hip hop. I like the flow. I like the phrasing patterns. I like the complexity of it. Is what's so impressive to me.
There's a page on Instagram, I can't remember what it is, and I don't even know if they're still around, but you can actually send them your song and they'll break it down for you and like how you structure. So me, I'm a like da 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 bang, da 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 bang, bang, bada bada boop, bada bada boop, boop, bang. So they'll say, you know, the last rhyming word, and then how you flip it, and he breaks it down and sends it back to you as a graph and a full. Like I was gonna send something to him, but it was $100 and something, and then they would just go on. But it's pretty amazing.
Yeah,
I would.
I mean,
I think my verses, my flow patterns change pretty much every single track.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I think like for me, because when I first the hip hop shows early that I went to early on, like this is back, so yeah, end of the 90s, early 2000s. What I loved about them from a singer's point of view is that end of the night when, we lost him. We're back. Sorry, we lost your face, but you're
really?
still there somewhere. I'd say no, he's still there behind that screen.
I can still see you.
Yeah, he's still underneath the screen.
Yeah. We're getting there.
We are getting there.
Yeah.
I'll just keep talking if you can hear me. From a singer's point of view, what I loved about it is the end of the night when they would have, that freestyle section. And I just loved seeing artists get up and that creativity and freedom. And from a singer's point of view, that's what I enjoyed the most because I love to improvise. I really enjoy coming up with things on the spot. I like the thrill of that and bouncing off somebody else. So for me, that's what really drew me into the scene of performing hip hop was just that freedom of being able to, of that being celebrated, you know, of that, the fact that you're making it up on the spot, being the thing that people love. I just thought that was, amazing back then. Still do.
I
Still love
think
that
it's
side of it.
amazing too. Like, I couldn't freestyle to save my life at the moment. I bumped into a few boys. Out here the other day, and they were rapping. I was like, "Yeah, man, that's so good to see." And they're like, "Freestyle," and I'm like, "Fuck!" And I held my own. I held my own. But I have to admit, while they were doing it, I was sitting there thinking of it. But back in the day, it's like exercise, right? We had motion in our crew, man. So you had to fucking really one up him. Like he was unbelievable. So, and he would keep us really sharp. And we would have music night once a week, and we'd all freestyle, and we were just fucking on fire, man. Like, it's kind of like training a muscle. You lose it, you know. But it's such a good. It's so cathartic to freestyle, hey, and just be like, you know, not judged, especially when you're amongst your friends, not judged, but in a cipher, like having a laugh, bagging out your friends. It's so fun.
And then for me, you know, just being able to come up with melodies and, you know, make a song that's a cover and make it work within that beat. It's just, that's something I always just really enjoyed doing. I'm a
big fan of female vocalists. Like, we did a few songs with Janie Housego, like you remember Janie jumped on a few joints. She was amazing. She's same thing, traditional, came through in the Adelaide Girls Choir, and we met her back in, like, when did the calling drop? 2003. We met her at Scorley's at 2003, and she just started singing to us, and we were like, ah! I was like, nobody chat her up, nobody hit on her. She's coming to sing with us, right? This is so that was she's beautiful. She's got an amazing voice, and we were pretty lucky. She will still work with the boys. She still works with Bornsky and that, and does some cool shit. But Kim, how did you get into hip hop? Let me guess, Ghetto Boys, Two Live Crew.
Me personally becoming an artist, that was, you know, when I was little, like, you know, when I was 7, 8, you know, I'd always be wanting to write poetry. I always loved poetry. Yeah. I used to sit there, I'd sit there with, like, you know, my parents, my grandma, give me a topic, just something to write about. Always loved sitting there writing. When I was about 12, I started loving, like, Naughty by Nature. Man. You know, getting into all of that. I went to Cabra, which was the very anti-hip-hop school. They were all about, like, Blink 182 and, like, you know, Pennywise and all of that. So for me, you know, I even remember on casual days, I'd wear Nike and everyone would be like, oh, she's wearing Nike. So I remember, like, you know, I was never into the grunge music, even though that's what I was around growing up. I just always liked the hip hop. But then, you know, just through friends and everything, as time went by, I started being introduced it was around 96. I started being introduced to, like, Nas, Exhibit, Tribe Called Quest, De La Soul, you know, all of those sort of artists. And obviously Tribe Called Quest, De La Soul, they work with a lot of singers. So I've actually always had a love for rap and soul from the get-go. I've always been drawn to tracks that have got some, you know, raps that actually have some meaning behind them, mixed with some soul. So that's how I got into hip-hop eventually. You know, I used to always pen lyrics, and then one day I was like, oh, well, you know, I'll just try putting it over a beat. This is before the internet. I hate to say that, but it was. And I was like, you know, I just taught myself everything. I was like, oh, I don't know how long a verse goes for. I didn't know what a bar was. I sat there. I remember one day listening to, I think it was Tribe, and I just started listening to their verses, and I started counting, and I realized, you know, there's bars, there's counts of four. You know, I just taught myself everything. So I started trying to make my own beats and everything around that same time as well. I remember I reached out to numerous people. This is before I met Simplex and everyone. I didn't know anyone from the scene. I just fell in love with it from my own perspective.
Wow.
And I ended up, there was some teacher at Brighton High School that I ended up getting in touch with, and he taught me some music program, and I cannot even remember what it was called now. Nah, even that one. Yeah, it was I can't remember. It was some old school one. And I tried to make my own beats, and I did, but they just were never like, I knew that wasn't what I was drawn to as a passion.
Yeah.
I wanted to buy a beat and apply some lyrics.
Yeah, nice. So when did you drop your first song? Like, well, when did you record your first proper song?
My first song, I finally got the balls to tell. So I ended up meeting Simplex. I reckon I knew him for probably 3 years before I even told him that I rapped.
Wow.
I was like a closet rhymer. I was like, I don't want to tell anyone. Like, I don't want to get this, blah, blah, blah. And then one day I just asked him for a beat, said I actually write lyrics and I'd love to record a track. And then he helped me record my first track.
Fuck, what a person to get your first beat off, mate.
Oh, yeah!
Jesus Christ, straight to that. He's in my top 5, man. I fucking love Simo's beats.
And from there, Simo definitely, he's guided me in so many ways when it's come to music. He's been someone that I've looked up to and respected highly, since I met him.
Yeah. Same here.
And definitely influenced by Terra Firma and Simplex's style. So, yeah.
Yeah. Shout outs to Simo. He's a good human, man. He's one of the few very, very great humans. Witty sense of humour, like
witty,
gorgeous,
very witty,
gorgeous.
Witty
head.
to the. I don't know.
He's very fun. I've got him coming on soon, so I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, awesome.
I'm sure it's just going to be him fucking putting me on show with his dry humour. So I've got to be pretty fucking prepared for that one, I reckon.
Most of the time, he'll take over the interview and it will become,
I'm preempting it. Yeah. Oh, shit. So as I will go on to a few people you've worked with and how you met them as well, but Cate, do you rap at all?
No, I don't. Like, although my
spoken word,
I do a lot of spoken word. So yeah, I have an experimental music group as well with my husband Johnny, and we do a lot of sample based soundscapes and things, so sonic art, and also spoken word over that. So it's poetry, but
nice.
it's to music.
And there's an amazing track you should look up on YouTube. What's that one where you're sitting on the chair?
Fourth Wall.
Yeah. That's a spoken word
What's
one.
What's it called?
Fourth Wall by
Neo Six, and it's a very impressive track.
Thank you.
And what's the band name?
Neo Six.
Neo 6.
Spell it to beats. NEOFIX.
Oh, fix. Well, lucky you did because I put 6.
He's looking at us like face, listeners.
Oh, God. All right, come on. Bring it back. All right, so what have I got here? So you work with the big fella, Big Mick, Big Alerts, and
I met Mick through Simo.
Yeah.
We met in 2009.
He's a great mate, hey.
Me and Mick?
Yeah.
Bestie.
Yeah.
He's like, I love Mick. He's definitely, I look at him as family for sure.
Yeah.
We met in 2009 through Simo. Mick had just got out of jail.
Yeah.
And he had a lot of lyrics and he had a lot of stuff that he wanted to record. And one night we just ended up dropping raps together, and then one thing led to another. Within a couple of weeks we said, why not make some tracks together? And we actually recorded I don't know how many, I'm going to say maybe 5 or 6 off the top of my head. And we actually never released any properly. There's some good tracks in there too. I should release those.
Yeah, I thought there was going to be an album.
Yeah, there was one called Fallen, and I still love that track. And if people want to look it up, it is on SoundCloud, back in SoundCloud days.
Yeah.
There's actually, I think, 2 or 3 tracks of ours on SoundCloud still. I haven't taken them down because I still have a lot of love for them.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a track called Fallen, and I love that track. I still rate that one, as one of our best products that we put together.
Yeah.
But yeah, we worked together. We even went, because he was obviously,
holidaying
around and not around sometimes. And you know, so when he would be here, he would always jump up on stage, even if I was performing with Cate.
Yeah.
We would all, you know, link up and make it work. So yeah, you know, we've always worked together to an extent, and we just have a connection when it comes to music. So
yeah, he's talented, man. I'd really love him to drop an album. You know,
I mean, if you look at all of his releases, he almost pretty much has, as in an EP, I'd say. You know, like
he fucking carries on with it, doesn't he? He does a film clip. He don't muck around.
No, he doesn't. No. They're always next level. Yeah. I don't think he's really planning on making a lot more music anymore.
I get that vibe.
So he has. I have hit him up. We are doing one more Alerts and Kimence track.
Yes.
Nice.
But apart from that, I don't think he's got much. He does have another single I've heard that is going to be dropped soon.
Yeah.
And it's a stomper. So.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he's super talented, but I guess, you know, not as we know, his priorities have changed a little bit, and
he works on solar farms. He's in the middle of New South Wales at the moment.
Yeah. So it's good to see, man. It's good to see him turn his life around. To be honest,
yeah, he is a great example that you can.
Yeah.
And but you know, you don't have to be stuck in a box.
Yeah, man.
You know, you can step away from that and make a whole new life. And that's what he did.
Shout outs to you, big fella. We'll have to catch up soon. I owe him a photo shoot. So if he's not doing music anymore,
he told me that.
He might.
He actually told me that.
If it's not music anymore, I don't know what it's gonna fucking be.
Well, no, because I said to him, I said, you know, if we do another track, you know, we'll get some promo. And he goes, well, Beats owes me a shoot.
There you go. So now hired.
Sam paid for it, and we just haven't done it, man. I'm keen. I'm keen as it'd be good. He's always like, just let me get a bit bigger. Just let me get a bit bigger.
Yeah.
Funny. I'm gonna be quiet now because he might give me a bit of a touch up.
A bit of a touch up.
Yo, this week's episode is brought to you by Riders Inc., Adelaide's only Southside paint stockers, located at 614 Brighton Road, Seacliff Park. Open Monday to Friday, 11 to 7. Saturdays are 12 to 8. That's late. Sundays are 1 to 5. Just head to Tattoo Asylum and walk inside and tell them Beats sent you. Beats sent you. You tell them Beats sent you. Tell them Beats sent you. Tell them Beats sent you. They got MTN hardcores and iron lacks, loops and 94s, all of that. They stock in hip hop, they stock in clothing, they got it all. Mention the Get Down podcast to get fuck all discount.
You're a jerk, man. Do you know what? I was waiting for you to say my voice. Can you cut that part? It's a horrible thing to say.
No, you know why? Because do you remember once I said...
Yes, I remember.
Your cadence.
You fucking, scarred me. Oh, shit. You say my cadence.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, that was the joke, because Kimence, cadence.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you've sort of fell into your style a bit more since you were younger. You fell into your flow.
Whatever.
Used to be really up and down with your cadence.
Yeah, I know. Oh, there wasn't enough compression used. No, I definitely, I've worked hard at that. You know, that's something I've worked really hard at.
Yeah.
I've always been I've always been my biggest critic, and I have always wanted to perfect. And I'm not shy to say that is something I need to really work on. You know,
it's the only way you can move forward, isn't it? Like, really,
to critique yourself 100%. You know, you have to, and to hear criticism. You know, and go, okay, well, I've got to take that on board and work that out. So
yeah,
but,
in a scene where there's a lot of yes men, you know, or yes women, you know,
exactly.
There's a lot of that going on.
Yeah, no, I definitely have worked hard, and I still am. You know, we did rehearsal just before, and there's this one track where I go really hard on, And I said to Kate, I feel like I need to wind it back for the live. I go hard in the booth on it, but I feel like live, I need to tone it back. And Kate's like, nah, you need to keep going hard on that one. It needs that energy. I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
But, you know,
do you ever write stuff for live? Do you see a lot of people doing that?
I always write live.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah.
I never used to. I always write thinking live. Now, every time we put a song together, I'm always like, oh, this will go well live if we do it like this, if we do it like that. I'm always
Think about the energy. Yeah.
live. Yeah. So cut that part too.
Nothing gets cut. All right. So, who does most of your production? Because I was having a listen today. Original, that fucking slaps. Running with Wolves slaps. Checkmate.
Sealand.
So who's produced them all?
So one original is One Above.
Oh yeah, of course. That's got a big sound to it. Hey.
Running with Wolves is Trials.
Wow, didn't pick that.
And what's the last one you said? Checkmate. That was Sealand.
Who's that?
Sealand is a American producer. He produces the Mercules and that. So.
Oh wow, yeah, that slaps, man. Jesus.
Yeah.
So how do you choose your producers? Like obviously some of them are your friends. Like Simo's done a bit.
Kim does a lot of that.
Yeah, I pretty much.
She does that work.
I sort of get the start going on the tracks, sort of the way it's always gone. So I source the beats, and I'm very fussy, very, very fussy with the beats. I actually hate when producers say to me, oh, you know, I can make you something custom. I don't like that because then I feel stuck with it.
Yeah.
I like to be given maybe 6, preferably 60 beats. And I like to go skip. Nah, I can tell within 5 seconds of every beat.
So
I'm like, yeah, in fact, if I may not even get to 5 seconds on a beat, I can sometimes be like, nah.
I'm exactly the same. Nope.
For me, like, because from a singer's point of view, I enjoy the challenge of, like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me which beat. I'm really more about a lyrical point of view and picking up a melody over it. So I'm less worried about the beat for myself. Like she always picks the ones though, so it's, you know, I don't have to worry about it.
I do think like that is something that I am sharp with. You know, I'm like very on point with getting those catchy beats, but yet the ones that are still easy to either tell a story over or come up with a cool flow with. You know, because sometimes I'll hear a good beat. Like I heard a good beat 2 days ago. I was like, I really love this beat, but I'm like, my flow just won't go on it. You know, so it's not about just going, oh, I love that beat. I need to now think, hang on, how will my voice, how will my flow, how will everything go over that beat, and stop going, because once upon a time I just go, oh, I love that beat, I've got to buy that beat. It doesn't work that way. It needs to fit a bigger criteria.
Yeah, I'm the same. Like I produce and I make stuff, and I'm like, I fucking love that. Eh?
I didn't know that you actually produced beats.
That's my name, is Beats.
I know. But I've never really like heard anyone go produced by Beats, or was that all more like the Adroit days?
I produced a couple joints on the Adroit, and then I released a few things under another fake name. So when I produce, I release Red Wine. My production name is but again, going back to that, I make stuff, and I'm like, you can't rap on this. It's a great instrumental, but can't rap over my beats. That was the thing. I have really obscure drums, and they're fucking all over the place. But I did produce a few.
That you've got going for the podcast.
Yeah, that was pound to the credit.
Oh.
It's funny. You know what's funny is I come up with the name. I was going through a whole heap of names for the podcast, so this was going to be called Careless Whispers, and I was gonna sample the Wham Careless Whispers, like
do that again.
And then I had another one. It was going to be called Hey It's Beats. Have you got a minute? And then I come up with I said, oh, what about the Get Down? Because like, I was going to make it a bit more like just more conversations. Hey, go on, it's beats, and that's how I would have started every episode. And then I come up with the Get Down, and I said to Pound, I said, oh yeah, can I go through your beats and can I have one? And he's like, yeah, go for it. And the first one I clicked on, it's like, get down. I'm like, fuck off, man. So, like everything it's meant to be.
Cool.
Yeah, I do like it. And then I chopped it up a little bit for the episodes. It's cut up, but for the social media, it's not. All right. Anyway, so there's a bit we're going to cut out there.
Yeah. Oh, look, can you cut out a heap of that, actually?
No, that's all right. I've got to edit it, so it's all fun and games, mate. We didn't even sound check because we're running late. Hopefully my voice is not like the other week. Same thing. I was in a bit of a rush. I didn't really sound check with Sirek, and his voice is like, and I'm like really quiet, so I have to chop myself out and double myself up everywhere. But anyway, first world problems. All right, so I asked if Cate raps. Kim, do you sing?
No.
No. What I meant to go down there saying, do you have any plans on future releases where it's just one of you? Like, so the whole a Cate solo or a Kimence solo?
I dropped the solo last year. At the end of the day, there's going to be times I've been writing lyrics and recording, stuff over the last few weeks even. Sometimes I just get in my zone and do my thing.
Yeah.
I'll go after I'll get a beat, I'll write something, and then I'll think, what am I going to do with this? It's just one of those things. So, just like Cate does her Neo fix.
Yeah, we're really supportive of each
other. Quite organic how it comes out.
You should be that way. You can't own somebody else in music. So when it comes out, Kim writes a song that's a solo song. Like Main Stage, she brought out. Is it last year?
Yeah.
Friggin' awesome song. Like if that's a standalone song, it didn't need anybody else on it. You know what I mean? And so and you do sing on that one a little bit in the chorus. It's like it's singy. It's awesome. It's amazing. But point being is that hello reverb. Point being is that in music that's when groups struggle. I think coming from even outside of hip hop, coming from a band and a sort of original music band sort of scene, that's what kills it when people aren't free to creatively pursue other things.
Because at the end of the day, it is, to be honest, for me, and it's a subject I won't delve into, but it started to me really from being a therapeutic manner.
Yeah.
There was, and at the end of the day, it is still that.
Yeah.
So there is always going to be days where you just go, oh man, there's fucking shit going on, and I just need to vent. And the way that I do that best and release that is through penning lyrics.
Yeah, 100%. I feel that. Yep.
And if I know with Main Stage, I got that beat, and I just had a lot going on in my head, and I couldn't stop the pen moving. It wasn't like I sat down one day and went, oh, I'm going to do a solo track today. I was like, I just couldn't stop the pen moving. And by the time it finished moving, there was a whole track.
Yeah. We're more excited for each other if we have other music happening.
Yeah.
And I guess at the end of the day, Cate and Neo Fix is a slightly different. It is a different genre, where you can bring out all those other ideas that you have as well.
Yeah, I mean, because for me, music is is something that's what I've always lost him. I've lost him.
Sorry, I've got to plug my laptop in. Can you give me a sec?
Go for it. Yeah.
Cut.
I'm prepared.
He said do a loud one.
Oh, dear.
Fucking hell, who's running this show, mate?
Well, Kim, definitely. She knows how to I am boss, yeah.
All right, so I've got one here. This is a pretty broad statement. Sorry, this is probably the most casual episode we've ever had, and I'm loving it. So I might start running it a bit like this. I might be late for more episodes. All right, so I want to talk about women in hip hop. All right, so a couple things I want to cover is there's not many in Australian hip hop. It's a very male dominated scene, as it is across the world. Statistically, it would be very male
not anymore
dominated. Statistically, Do you or have you experienced sexism within the Australian music scene? And then I want to go on to who were your female or idols when you came up. So for me, one comes to mind would be Layla, maybe Tash, and then maybe some American ones. So do you find, how do you feel as hip hop being misogynistic as a whole? And do you experience any sexism?
Okay. So when I first, was starting in the scene, I definitely felt judgment. I never copped any direct judgment because I think that I was always associated with people who wouldn't tolerate it anyway. Even if they maybe agreed, I don't know, but they always had my back. So I never felt that. The one thing, though, I always copped was, the typical line, you're pretty good for a girl,
which is condescending as fuck.
I don't normally like chicks. It's like, you would always cop those sort of comments. And then, as time went by, for some reason, I just always compared myself to the next guy. Maybe because there was no other females at the time when I started, but, in today's era, I do still hear people going, comparing me to another female rapper or whatever. I hate that shit because I have always compared myself to the males in the scene. So
as an individual as well.
Yeah, exactly. So, maybe because I did step into the scene before there were other females in Adelaide doing it. I've never really had that mentality. I've always compared myself to all the males around me as, in my eyes, equals. They may not look at me as equals, but I have looked at them as equals, and hate to say the word, looked at them as my competitors.
Yeah,
because
that's hip hop, mate.
It's a scene of sport as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So do you feel like you're a bit of a trailblazer for women in hip hop then, or in Adelaide? Because there's Shook.
Think that I am.
Because there's Shook coming out now. I've never met her either, but I see she's making a bit of noise. She's only young, isn't she?
Shook has taken her for quite a while.
Yeah. Is she quite young?
She is. She'd probably be, I'm going to say, mid-20s. Shook, sorry.
Oh, really?
I don't know if I'm... but she's been doing her thing since she was a teen as well.
Yeah, nice.
I've got a lot of respect for Shook, and me and Shook get along really well. We have talked about doing collabs over the years.
Do you feel obligated to collab with other women?
Not at all. No way. Nah.
I'm just a male. I don't know these things.
I'm trying to think if I have collaborated with another female MC. I'm trying to actually think if I did. I did do a track with Dawn Laird and it never got released. That was on my end. I wasn't happy with it was just a general track. It didn't work. You were on it. Was that? Yeah. Oh.
But I'm a bit spacey with these things. I often don't remember the stuff.
I love Dawn Laird though.
Brilliant.
Yeah. No, definitely don't feel obligated. That's for sure.
We really work with people we want to work with, regardless of gender.
If I could do a track with Layla, I feel like that would be the epitome of accomplishment.
Yeah.
I had respect to Layla.
I love Layla. She's amazing. We've got a question. There's a question like that at the end. Well, have you heard of a woman called Love the Genius?
No.
Fuck, you got to check her shit out, man. She's fucking incredible. But it's not spelt love. It's like a upside down 7 and then an X, then VE or something like that. It's like, or it might be LO7E. But just Google Love the Genius.
Super easy to find.
Yeah. Heaps easy to find. She's incredible, man. I've been hounding her for an episode, but to no avail.
Okay.
To no avail. What about you, Cate? Do you receive anything? Do you feel any sexism or?
No, I don't. But I've similar. I've been in the music scene, not just the hip hop scene. The hip hop scene's always been only part of what I do.
Yeah.
I don't feel it and haven't. But then again, same with Kim, I've always sort of associated myself with strong, you know, if I am in a female group, they're females that aren't thinking about life that way. Like we don't, you know, we just don't worry about that sort of stuff. Like we treat people with respect, and we expect respect in return, and not street cred respect, but like respect. You know, how you treat people.
Yeah.
Always try to treat people really, really well. That's something I noticed about Kim straight away when I started working with her. You know, because it's picking the musicians that you work with. For me, it's always been an important part of it, and I noticed straight away, you know, she treats people respectfully when she's asking for a beat, when she's talking to, you know, promoters. She does a lot of that work for us. The way she treats people is what made me go, yeah, I want to be in a group with this person. Like, and I think because of that attitude, I don't really feel like we struggle with it.
The reason I brought it up was because of the misogyny in hip hop traditionally. Well, early hip hop it wasn't, but then, you know, the gangster rap became quite misogynistic. And then that comment you said, Kim, pretty good for a girl. That's pretty condescending. That's like the old.
Now I'm confident that it's being said behind my back many times. I'm very confident that there's probably been numerous comments behind my back, but to be honest, I don't care.
Yeah, fuck the haters.
I do this for me. I do this because it makes me happy. It feeds my soul. And I don't really care what other people think. So, if you don't like it, don't listen.
That's sound advice, mate.
I think women in general, they get underestimated a lot.
Yeah.
So if you put on a good show, people seem genuinely surprised sometimes. And so that's part of it. But it all comes down to perspective and how you choose to take that message. Like if someone's surprised that we're good, I'm like, cool, awesome, go away and be, you know, rather than being offended.
Yeah,
more about
true.
the way that you do that. Well,
true. All right, let's jump off that one. I just thought it'd be interesting your perspective. You know, I haven't had a female artist on the show yet, so yeah. All right, so let's jump into this big one. What do you think of Australian hip hop scene at the moment as a whole? I know you said Adelaide's popping, but what do you think? This and the reason I wrote this today because I'm involved in something. I'm going to cut this out. Yeah. What are your thoughts on the Australian hip hop scene as a whole right now, as opposed to back when it was popping off, like when the cooling dropped?
I am so attached to the golden era. So, look, as many are, take me back to that era any day, you know, over what the scene is right now. I would have to say that, you know, like that's just me being honest. That's what made me attached to the scene. I respect the scene. I appreciate what is going on, but some of the styles, you know, some of the new school styles, and when I say that, how do I say this nicely? I'm not talking Adelaide. Yeah, no, I'm not talking Adelaide at all. I'm talking maybe more like the Sydney styles, which are taking over the scene a bit and influencing the up and comers.
Yeah, well, like the trap.
Trap and you know. Just there's some general vibes where it's got to be like commercial. There are some women coming up where they're making it look like it's going to be sexualized. I feel like it's going a little bit down the American road.
Yeah,
it was always going to happen.
Yeah.
We're always a few years behind America, so it was always going to happen.
Yeah,
but it's me. So doesn't mean that I don't think it's good. Doesn't mean that I don't think the artists have talent. But it's not saying I would play in my car. And I always say that. You know, I always bring it back to the car thing. What would I listen to in the car?
That's another question.
My car, my Spotify playlist is all 90s.
Yeah.
I don't anything, unless it's my friends, past 90s.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm stuck in a bit of a time warp there. I will lean into like Run the Jewels and you know, a few new J. Cole. I'll lean into a few of those newer ones, but I'm stuck in a time warp, and you can imagine what my fucking time warp's like.
I'm not going to get past that time warp, I don't think. So, but look, I respect it. I respect the grind. I respect them as artists and what they're doing, but it doesn't mean that, you know, it's something that I'm going to connect with. And so.
Yeah, I was just going to say, like, I think the whole industry, I always bring it back to outside of hip hop as well, because a lot of the work I do, most of the work I do is actually outside of hip hop. So in terms of industry wise, and I think the industry's taken such a hit over the last couple of years that the lack of, and I know I've said it before, but the lack of a live scene over the last few years has been really hard for artists, you know, because that's where, like, you do your stuff in the studio and you make your tracks, but stages and being able to bounce off other people and see other sets and get inspired from other artists. Yeah. That's where that sense of excitement for a scene comes from. It's doing it live. It's actually connecting with people, and I think that as that comes back, there's going to be a different feeling to the music in general.
It kind of makes me think about what they're saying about, you know, all these statistics about kids missed out on so much school. There's going to be a dip. You know, there's going to be a dip in creativity. There's going to be a dip in mathematics. I wonder if that's going to happen with musicians. If people are like, there's this gap where like, oh, fuck getting into that because there's no inspiration and there's no outlet. So I wonder if there's going to be a big dip in music.
The people, yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, connecting with people is such a big part of creativity. And like, I remember one time I was at a theatre gig in the city, and I was listening to her set, and I had this sudden flash of inspiration for a song. Had nothing to do with hers. It just came to me because something she said inspired something else. That then I had to run to the, out back to the beer garden.
Oh, really?
Voice memo. Because, those are the moments where you love that. And she was getting down on stage, and she was just not giving a fuck. She was just loving her life, and seeing somebody let loose, and that's what the gift of music is. When you see someone on stage that have forgotten what they're doing, what they look like, all of that stuff, and they're just sharing with you their music from that really deep place inside of themselves. That's the gift of music, and that's what inspires people, is to see people let go on stage like that. And
you're not trying to interact to a criteria.
Yeah.
You're not trying to be someone.
Or tick a box on Spotify.
Oh, that's what those people like.
Yeah.
Just do you.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. That's good consensus. You agreed on something.
Yeah. We don't agree. We disagree most of the time.
Yeah. Oh, fuck. So the next question I had is if we jumped in your car right now, so Kim, you've answered it. If we jumped in your car right now and turned on your Spotify, what would be playing, Cate?
I really like her at the moment, who's quite, like she had, I got into her stuff because she had a track that sampled some Lauryn Hill beat, and I thought, oh, that sounds like Lauryn Hill, and then I sort of checked her out and kind of got into her music quite a bit. But I'm also at the moment enjoying music without lyrics at the moment. I'm listening to a lot of lo-fi beats without music, like lo-fi chill beats, because I'm currently recording a little bit of that sort of style of thing with Neofix, and we got our hands on this old organ that a guy was giving away for free. Mad. And it actually plugged into it.
She's got a cool story.
Yeah, and it has an instrument, it has an input-output line, so we can actually record the organ straight in to the desk, which I didn't realise we could do. So it makes these amazing lo-fi sounds. So we've just been sampling that a whole heap lately. And so, I've been just listening to a lot of lo-fi chill beats, to be honest. Yeah. I'm really relaxed.
Yeah, I crank it when I study. Like I'll put those lo-fi beats, because otherwise... if I listen to music, I deconstruct it too much. If I'm like, I know that snare, or
I do that.
why did they put that there, or how did they chop that up? So if I just really strip it back, sometimes I even listen to classical music if I've really got to study, because then I don't have to think. But if I can hear, no, why have they done that, or how have they done that more so, as a producer, I'm like, how the fuck did they chop that? And then I'm off. Thinking about I want to go home and try and emulate that and try and challenge myself, and then next minute 3 hours I'm in the uni fucking library for 3 hours, like
it's down a spiral, kind of wormhole. I think that's the thing with the lo-fi, because creatively I find you tend to go in a bit of a cycle where you're creating a whole heap of stuff and you're really inspired, and then you're going into the work phase where you might be releasing that, or making a music video, and then at the moment I'm feeling like I'm back in a bit of a writing spot, so I'm liking listening to music without lyrics, where I'm maybe coming up with ideas and visuals along with that.
Yeah, it's good to know your process. That's one of the things I had, is what is your process. And it sounds like you get the beat and you run with it. Kim, you ticking over there, are you, Kim?
Yeah.
well, Kim always starts the track, so often yeah, you've done well actually.
No.
Often I'll write something based on Kim's verse. We lost it.
Just drink out the bottle, mate. You're down south.
You know you
You
want
don't
to.
need a glass. Don't try and be all fucking posh because of me, mate.
I'm not trying to be no one, mate.
Oh,
I'm going on a podcast. Get me a glass.
I was actually listening to the story.
That was my story.
Oh, shit.
I was saying that Kim starts the track, and often I'll come up with my hook or verse. In fact, pretty much all the time, I'll come up with my hook or verse based on a line she said or something like that, and I'll write in the studio. So sometimes I'll especially these days because we have less time, I might write something. I'll get at least an idea formulating, and then I'll
be like, have you written the hook? Nah. Okay, cool.
You have faith.
Because when I write it, I'll sit down and I'll write it. I'm not somebody that ruminates on it over and over and over. I will just sit down and focus in.
Yeah. I seem to work well off of hearing a concept first and then going, all right, this is what I'm going to do from that. So,
yeah.
With hip hop, I do.
With
different.
With what we do,
Yeah.
So that's pretty much what we've done every single track.
Yeah, it works. Why change it if it works?
I guess without no disrespect to you, Cate, but I guess you're complimenting the song at the end of the day. If you're doing hooks and harmonies, you're kind of complimenting Kim's work. Not to say that it's not evenly distributed, but that's how I feel when I listen to it. It's like the chunk is the rapper and you sort of come in as that.
I mean, these days, definitely the last sort of like 4 or 5 tracks, I've also put a verse on most of them.
Yeah.
But again, like, it is complimenting because a lot of the time, the way we work is, a lot of the time Kim is coming up with that initial idea or that verse, or like, she'll vent out some amazing verse, and then it will work out where I fit around that sometimes. And that's like how we work, and I quite enjoy that. Like, I prefer doing it that way.
Yeah.
And kind of highlighting the vision.
Yeah.
A bit. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
works well.
It's interesting. Very interesting. Because I kind of, it's been so long since I've written something. I know we used to like come up with concepts. It would be like, I've got this idea. So, we had one where we were at war, and, another one where we were spies, and I'd come up with them and say, who wants to be on this? Who wants in on it? And everyone would go, yeah. So it's been a while since I've written something. So it's interesting. All right, I'm going to jump away from the music. Kim, how's motherhood treating you?
Oh, today's been a challenging day. Probably why I am drinking so many wines right now. Look, it's amazing. There is no doubt that it's amazing. She is my little bestie. Shout out to Molly Jean. I love her. But she is 4, and she is 4 turning 14. She got sass. Thank you, Cate. Like, even from an outside perspective, Cate, how is Amali?
Oh, she's the cutest little thing in the world. No. And she's smart. She's super smart. She picks up on, like, and she has since she was little.
She's
like,
very challenging. She wants to challenge everything I'm doing, everything I'm saying.
That's good. That's good, though.
Explanation on everything. Like,
and she does, like,
needs her own mic in rehearsal.
Yeah, she does. And it feeds back. Today she was worried because we were rehearsing pretty loud. She thought we were putting cracks
in the house.
Yeah, she thought the house was breaking. So she did get
and then halfway through rehearsing day in, day out, she cracked it because I didn't know why she was cracking it. We were trying to finish a track. And then at the end, I realised she wanted me to hold Teddy with no legs. She's got a toy called Teddy with no legs.
Great name for a teddy.
But yeah, so no, motherhood's great. But when I'm trying to do other things, it's just a challenging moment.
But Marley's been part of Outside Lines since the beginning. She was
that's so cute
baby. When we were recording We Try, she was a baby, just tiny, rolling around on the floor.
We have studio footage of her while we were doing We Try. We've got footage somewhere
Yeah.
of her on the floor in this room as like a 3-month-old.
Yeah.
Wow.
Rolling around on the ground.
But
in
she
here.
was so cute, and her laugh on that track. When we sampled Marley's laugh on that track, and because it was just ridiculously cute.
Yeah.
And every time we hear that track, it's actually one of my favourites. She makes that track for me because it was one of those ones that happened so organically and so warm. Like
I know,
warm
it's
track.
beautiful, and I shout her out pretty much in the track. I don't.
You've got to put your kids on tracks, eh? Like
even if you look at the credits on the album on that one, I say featuring a Marley Jean.
Yeah.
So Marley
so cool.
Jean lyric, poor girl, I gave her like 45 names. A Marley Jean lyric, Cole. I nearly
Is Lyric
called
in
her.
a real name.
Her middle name is Lyric.
Nice.
Her actual first name is Marley Jean, hyphenated, and middle name Lyric.
That's crazy.
I nearly called her Lyric as her first name.
That's a sick name.
And then I thought, are you setting her up for like hard times at school? So I gave her a Marley Jean.
She can sing though. She can sing already. She
reckon?
Well, she matches my pitches. She can hear pitch.
Have you got kids, Kate?
No, but I do have a plethora of animals, and I tell you,
Same
I have
thing.
my own struggles,
And she's got me.
You gonna have any more, Kim?
No, hell no.
No.
Mate,
That was very definitive.
Yeah, nah, definitely not. No, Molly's it.
That's it.
Four names for me.
Four names, yeah.
All right. So what I saw during the week was Kate fucking ducking and weaving. What's going on with the ducking and weaving, mate? What's going on there?
Yeah. So my husband and his best mate have started. His best mate is a professional boxing coach.
Yeah.
And runs one of the oldest boxing gym in South Australia, which is called TJ's in Brompton on the west side.
Oh yeah.
And it's like a real old school community gym. It's a really cool spot.
Yeah.
And over the pandemic, it was a bit tricky to run classes and things. Chris who's the coach, he took a lot of his classes online to his clients. And then over time, that's sort of become Boxing Brothers online coaching. Him and his brothers and Johnny kind of run this online coaching program.
Yeah.
The idea being that, you can it's aimed at people to be able to do that from home without the pressure of having to go into a gym. It's definitely not like promoted at girls, but I thought I've always wanted to box. I enjoy fitness that has a sport element, and I thought, I'll give the program a go just to kind of support and have a bit of a go. But then I ended up loving it. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
I've been doing the program from home and learning a little bit. I'm crap, but you
are not.
Do you know what? Do you know the one I stumbled across? You fucking had it playing at higher speeds, and I'm like, look at her fucking move.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, girl can move, man.
I said to Kate, that particular one, I said to Kate, I actually thought, fuck, she's come so far.
Yeah.
And then I realised her dog Cleo was in the background, and I could see the dog's tail.
Well, because I feel like these days visually, everybody needs everything to be in fast forward because everyone's so impatient. But
True.
my dog joins me for every single workout. She's not invited. She's got her own. She's got her own agenda, and every single video you just see like either her running or you see like a ball just bouncing past my feet because she's dropped that waiting for me to kick it.
That's funny. So do you want to give your husband's business a shout then?
Yeah, so it's Boxing Brothers Online Coaching.
Yeah. And
it is a local run business, but it's available to anybody can start it. And the cool thing about it is that you can do your first fortnight free just to check it out. But if you join the members program, the idea is that it's not just a 10-week program. It's constant, ongoing video content coming out continuously. So you never have to do the same stuff over and over, though you can. But it's based on technical boxing as well as fitness. So because he's an actual boxing coach, you're learning footwork, how to dodge, all of that sort
Yeah,
of
I
stuff.
saw you fucking ducking and weaving, mate. Good on
Yeah, I'm learning the ducking and weaving. It feels a bit awkward, but like I threw my neck out last week. Exactly. But yeah, now getting there, and like I enjoy it, like the quick kind of workouts and
you. Yeah, high intensity.
love high intensity quick workouts. I will go into TJ's though and actually do one in person, hopefully in a couple of weeks' time. So
I've just started doing altitude training, right? So
Yeah.
I'm in a room where they emulate being 3,000 meters above sea level. So I train Muay Thai, right? And I can, I'm not as fit as have been, but I can go.
Yeah.
I can go for it. Today I was in there at high altitude, and I boxed for 45 seconds, and I was fucked.
Yeah,
Absolutely fucked. Because you don't have your blood is not your blood oxygen saturation levels are like around 88.
Are you saying they simulate that? Like they drop the altitude?
Yeah, it's the highest point in Australia, this room that I train in. It's higher than Kosciuszko. It's like 3,000 meters. Till today it was like 2,800 meters high. And you can feel it. It's really hard.
I need to rehearse in that room. I need to rehearse in a room like that because I feel like I run out of oxygen on stage, but I don't even
Well, it's reduced oxygen. It's reduced oxygen in the room.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'd learn to rap better.
Maybe.
Yeah.
You rap pretty good.
It's pretty good. It's good. I'm enjoying it, and again, it's like bang for like I think they're like 40. Well, with rest, you got 45 minutes intense workout, and then you're out of there. There's no room to hide. It's just like bang, 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 and you're gassed out. You got 10 seconds, and you're like fucking sucking it in, man. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. If you get a chance, you should do it. Like even if you just go and do one free one. I'm doing it because I'm going to climb. I'm going to walk the Inca Trail next year.
Awesome.
So I want to be prepared and be fit. Like
I found the skipping, because there's skipping in a lot of the warm ups for the boxing, and I found that like in my mind when I started, because the last time I did skipping was when I was a kid. And I was great at it. Kids are good at skipping. In my mind, I'm like, skipping, whatever.
Yeah, they're all like double time the whole time.
My expectation versus reality, hard fail.
I did Muay Thai for a while as well with Alan Wong. Do you know who that is?
I train with Alan. He's staunch as fuck. I train there.
One of my best friends got me into it when I was about 19. I did it there for a couple of years. And I know skipping, it's hard. It's like half an hour skipping before you start anything. Yeah. I'm like, man, I'm over the skipping now.
I'm like flicking myself in the eye, and I'm like keep stepping on it, and the dog gets in the way. And
it is a good cardio workout.
Yeah. He's very controversial with his training, isn't he? He'd come up and hit you with a pool noodle and go, homophobic slur. You're a homophobic slur.
Really? Whoa. I know that there was times when, after you would do the warm up and then you would get, paired with someone. I know that there was every now and then someone I'd get paired with and they would just punch me straight in the face.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. No, and that's how he worked. He was they'd just say guards up. I'm like,
hands up.
It's a business.
Yeah, man. Yeah. He's old school. I train with Ka Wong down there as well. There's no relation, but yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, really, really, really
Did
good
you ever
trainers.
train with James Pahaja?
Who? Sorry.
James Pahaja?
No.
No, Miles. He used to have South Central.
Oh, not Solars.
Nah. You remember that shop? So maybe cut some of this.
Yeah.
Remember that shop on
between Brighton Road. Yeah.
So my friend, he started that shop, and then he moved to Koh Samui for Muay Thai.
Yeah, right.
So and that's how I went to Alan Wong.
Yeah,
through him.
He's trained some good fighters. Like he trained Stan the Man. And we're back. Right, so what I want to do here, I want to talk about someone just quickly. It's not a question. Well, I guess we could make it a question, but I want to mention Martino. All right.
I love Martino.
I know you do, and so do I. So I know you're pretty close to him, and I just want to mention him because he is a huge behind the scene guy of Adelaide hip hop, and he does a lot and never asks for anything in return. So I just want to say, Martino, I see you, man. I see what you're doing, and I've always respected him. But what's the relationship there? You guys known each other for a while?
We have known each other that long that when I first met him, he was still, I don't know if he was in school or uni.
Wow.
But we've known each other that long that when we first started hanging out, we've always had like a tight bond. That he used to call me mum. He doesn't anymore, thank God. But yeah, we just had we started hanging out. We met through Rafi.
Okay, yeah.
So that's how we met. So I think he met Rafi through his older brother Antonio.
Yeah.
So yeah,
there's a bit of a link. There's a bit of a link. His brother married my daughter's stepfather's niece or something like that.
I can't take that.
You might have to let that one sink in. But yeah, there is some link there. Like my daughter, there's been family situations, and my daughter's like, "Oh, that guy was there."
Yeah, look, Tino's just a fucking chill dude. He is a cool dude. He is, just a good dude that you want to be friends with.
Yeah, That's why I brought him up. I wanted to bring him up because he's a bit of an unsung hero down there, you know.
He is, and I'm glad you brought him up. He's one of my best friends, and you know, I put it this way: at my daughter's birthday, he's there.
Yeah.
You know, he's someone who I speak of very, very highly, and so not as a human, but as as someone who does something to the scene as well.
So
he is an unsung hero, as you're saying. Like
he doesn't ask for anything back. He doesn't even want it. In fact, the opposite. He wants to be anonymous.
He does because it's better because his profession. He'd rather keep them separate. But you know, he does amazing things with the scene, and he's he's a huge advocate for everyone who's coming up and everyone that he can support through South Life. He is. So, you know, he's been there doing his thing for a long time.
Yeah, he's a good bloke.
And also just like in general, I used to go to him actually, and I should do this, I haven't done this for a while. I used to go to him probably every 6 months and say, can you give me like a playlist of all the artists you've been introduced to in the last 6 months?
Yeah.
Because
they're lovers of it. They love hip hop. His brother, man. His brother's collection.
He's buying and being educated on new music daily. I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't have time for it.
Yeah.
And it's not just that I don't have time for it. I'm not saying that, you know, he necessarily has more time for it. It's just that he is more passionate about that. And whereas I get a bit more stuck in what I know. So through him, I have learnt so much new music that I would have never heard before.
Yeah. His brother, it's what's his
Which one?
Waxel Foley.
Yeah, Antonio,
If listeners, if you go and follow Waxel Foley, that collection is fucking second to none, man. Like I've got some records, but nothing on that, man. And all that Dirty South shit and everything. It's got everything. So
they are more drawn to that. I know, like, that's definitely more their thing. But Martino, he'll still buy everything, even if it's not his thing.
Yeah,
he'll still give it a go, and I love that.
He's a collector through and through, isn't he? Yeah,
100%.
All right, shout outs, Martino. That's got to be a free South Life shirt in that. I've got them all. I wear them up here. And people are like, what's that? Noarlunga Christie's, but what's that all about? And I'm like, don't you fucking worry about that, mate. Don't worry about it. All right, what we might do, we're in the back nine. So got a couple of questions left. And I'll start them now because there's two of yous. Who made the sign in the background? That's fucking so dope.
I had that made up.
I love how you just parted at the same time there.
I had that made up, but there was a purpose for it. I had a strong vision once again for it being used in a film clip, and that.
Yeah.
So it was made for circus. So if you look up circus on YouTube, that sign's in the background.
Yeah.
And it was, I really had a strong neon vibe for that.
I'll put a link to that in the show along with the Neofix.
Cool.
Circus is the track, yeah. I'll put a link in the show notes to that. All right. If you could work with one artist, no restrictions, anyone you want, who would it be and why? Both of you.
I have a flash of a few people. I'd have to say Layla. I would have to say Layla for sure.
That's doable. That's completely doable.
It is. I don't know. I don't even know if she still does music.
She would. She'll come back. I've invited her on the show. Layla, come on. I love Layla. I got so much love for Layla.
We give her a little tag here and say, please do a track with us. Yeah, we would love that.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Leave it with me. Put it out. Put it out to the universe. What about you, Cate? This would be an interesting one because I have no idea who you would choose. I'm thinking Gaudier.
Nah, if I could do a track with anyone in the world, it'd be Alicia Keys. Alicia Keys, yeah.
Who's that?
If it was, it would be Alicia Keys if it was anyone in the whole. Yeah, she was.
Don't know if I can swing that.
Yeah, sorry, I don't think I was going to say that might be a bit tricky.
I've got Disaster's phone number, but I don't know if I can.
Anyone in the whole world. So
that's what I asked. So another one, which mixed reviews on if this is a good question or not. Top 5, dead or alive. So for you, Cate, musicians as a whole. For you, Kim, rappers.
Okay. Oh, top 5 rappers. You go first.
Shit. You go first.
Top 5 rappers.
But no, Kim. I mean, Cate, you can just do musos in general if you like.
Oh, okay. In that case, I'm good.
I'm gonna go. My top 5 faves. I'm gonna have to go Nas, followed by. You put me on the spot. I mean, I've always loved AZ as a lyricist. Top 5. I know I'm going to struggle to there's too many names.
Narrow them down.
Yeah.
Mine is where I feel. My top 5 would be.
Give me a minute.
I'll give you a minute. My top 5 would be Alicia Keys, Aaliyah, Lauryn Hill, and then Janet Jackson.
Oh, yeah.
And then 5. Okay, for vocals, Mariah Carey as well.
Wow. Yeah.
Just because, growing up, she was a huge influence.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm going to regret my answer later, only because it's something that I would normally put more thought into.
Some people hate the question.
I'm literally just trying to think right now.
Hard to narrow it down.
Yeah, but I would look. Pretty much all mine are based on pretty much East Coast MCs. So Nas, Q-Tip. I'm going to go over to West Coast for a minute. I've always been a huge fan of Exhibit.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe because that was just more the era I grew up on. So I think groups as well because I've always been drawn to Far Side and so it's hard for me to narrow it down to just MCs. That's a good list though.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah,
that'll do. It's a real difficult question.
Hard question. It's a very hard question because then I also love Lord Finesse and
That's another one. That's another guest I've been bugging.
Oh, really now?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Beatnuts. I've got to say Beatnuts.
Yeah. Didn't you fuck around with them? Didn't you do some stuff with them?
I did a track with Psycho Les.
Yeah, he made the beat, or he rapped on it as well. Yeah.
He did the hook on it.
Yeah. Mad.
One of the first tracks released though, so
we might play that one. We might play that one at the end of the episode, eh?
No, we will not.
Huh?
No, we will not. I was just about to say, unfortunately, one of the first tracks I released. So, God, I wish I could do it all over again, you know.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. That's how I feel about life, mate. Don't worry about that. Fucking hell. All right, so now we've got the big one. I don't know if you listen to the show or not, but this is the big one. So if you could send yourself, if you could write on a piece of paper, little tiny piece of paper like that, a piece of advice, put it inside a fortune cookie and send it back to yourself in time, what would it say and why? And
don't fuck around with idiots and always fucking stand your ground.
Jesus Christ, you didn't have to think about that one.
Mine would be, to my younger self, mine would be like, nobody's really watching you. No one really cares. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you always feel when you're growing up, like everybody's watching everything you're doing and like cares about everything you're doing. My advice would just be confidently do what you want to do your way, and nobody's really watching anyway. Everybody's so concerned with their own shit. That's a fucking big fortune cookie, you know?
Yeah.
You can't even the paper.
Yeah, but I'm an expander. He said, and why? So I stand by my answer. Is that act like nobody's watching, because they aren't. Everybody's so wrapped up in their own stuff that they're really not watching you that hard. Just do what you want to do.
So the moral of the story is no one is watching you stand your ground.
That's it.
Right.
And that's one big fortune cookie.
And put your phone down.
Together.
Yeah, put your phone down. That's sound advice. So normally the answer to that sometimes becomes the episode title, but I'm running with Teddy with no legs, man.
That's the best line, isn't it?
How can we go past that, mate?
Cannot top that. No.
Oh shit! All right, let's plug your socials. I'm gonna go out of here and go and hang around some drunk people and stay sober. So let's plug your socials. And anything else? You got some gigs coming up? You got any new releases you want to plug? And where can people find you?
We are actually dropping a new track September 2nd.
Yeah.
Fresh will be dropping it for us.
Nice.
So we do have a new track coming out on September 2nd.
And that's how you're releasing it, through the radio. That's kind of cool.
Yeah. So we had an opportunity given to us. And yeah, we thought, why not? We'll do this. So we're dropping a track left, right, September 2nd. The gig September 30, which is going to be huge for Adelaide in general. Just looking forward to that for everyone that's involved, and getting the scene back happening. And that's pretty much it for us. We've got a couple of other tracks on the go. Got a couple that we're working on. One with Monops, which is a pretty heated track. And yeah, just everything in between. We're always open to anything. So
sounds good. So where can people find you guys? Is it Outside Lines on Instagram?
Yeah, check us out on Outside Lines, on Instagram, on Facebook and YouTube under Kimence.
Yeah. Run it up. So all on Spotify, Run It Up. I was having a listen today. It's good. It's refreshing. It's a real refreshing sound to have you in there, Cate, and mixing it up.
Yeah.
Not for the reason I said earlier. That's just a dig at Kim. She loves it. But it's really refreshing, and I look forward to see what you guys come up with. I feel like you haven't even really matured yet in musically. You know, I mean that in the nicest way. I feel like there's so much more to come. You know, like a nice bottle of wine. You know. But I feel like
there's nothing more to come. What do you mean?
No, I feel like you guys are still yet to step into your best. So
the passion's still there. There's been many times where I've sort of said to myself, "Nah, this is my last track." I've actually said that multiple times to myself. This is it. This is my last one. I'm not doing this anymore. And then next thing I'm like, oh, I like that beat. Oh, I've got some lyrics happening. And then I'm like, who am I kidding? I can't stop because it's in my blood.
Yeah. Sweet. All right. Unless you got anything to ask me, we'll get the fuck out of here.
Well, maybe. What do we have to
When did you shave that lovely beard off?
Fuck off. I'll tell you what happened. I'm going away this next week. And I was feral as fuck, like my beard was massive.
Feral!
And and my barber's away in New Zealand, and I only go to one barber. So I've got clippers, and I'm like, I just go in before work, and I'm like, I better have a trimmer. I went in, and I'm like, whoa, shit. I'm like, that's too short. And then it was like in for a penny, in for a pound. I had to finish, so I'm hoping it will grow back a bit. And it's just because my hair is longer on top.
You better keep going.
Oh, so I've just gone, and I'm like, oh no, like.
Let's just give a shout out to the Get Down podcast. Yes, for sure. Thank you for having us on. Yeah, appreciate it. And it's actually been good having a chat with you, B.
Yeah, I know. It's been a fucking minute, hasn't it? That's why I love it so much, because I don't see anyone, and this has just been so good, especially through COVID, especially to sort of target people, and then it's been good. A lot of people we stay in contact with a bit more as well. You know, sort of promoting each other's stuff. Get back.
You need to get Rafi.
Raf?
Get Rafi.
He was my first guest.
Oh,
yeah.
I haven't heard it.
Bit of controversy around that, mate. It was when he was running for.
Because I feel like he's someone who's a good guest. There you go.
He went for like, it was like 2.5 hours, man.
For one person. Shit.
We went through the book, we went through terra firma, we went through politics, we went through everything, man. It's really good. It's not the best audio or interview because it was my first one, but I'm mad respect for him for letting me sort of cut my teeth.
I didn't touch base on him throughout the interview, but I do have to say that Rafi is a huge influence on me as an artist, but as a motivator.
Yeah.
He really, I hung out with him and at the time, Cate, you know, for a few years there, and he was a big drive with me with hip hop. So he's someone else I have to give a shout out to. He's someone who I think he saw something in me that I didn't see. So there was times where I was questioning if I should even be doing it, if I should even be following this. And Rafi always had these words of wisdom and pulled me into line. Wisdom Raf is definitely the name. But
he's a smart dude, man. Smart dude. That book he wrote was fucking unbelievable.
Yeah, he's a very, very talented, knowledgeable human, that's for sure. So, yeah.
All right, well, look, we'll leave it there. Thanks for coming on. Don't hang up, and I'll stop recording, and I want to just have a quick chat and tell you something. Shout outs to Azza for me. Yeah?
I won't yell out. It's downstairs, but we'll yell out to him if someone else comes up.
Yeah, tell him I said good day, and you polish off that bottle of wine, you have fun, all right? Have one for me. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Outside Lines, a.k.a. Cate, Dyer and Kimence. Guys, thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it. It was lovely to meet you properly, Cate, and really good to see you again, Kim.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much.
No worries. Peace.
Running with wolves. Live my way, embrace the rain. No shy pain, it runs in vain. You feel the same in the darker days of time. I hate my life, I face some crazy things, but I keep my lane. Work hard each day, my mind retrained. Friendship fake, I say this ain't no time to waste, so days to trade. Better to get it, I had to accept it. I rap with the message and then I reread it. We write it with stress to the better, we let it. A platter of lessons, hustle to get it. The panic is landing, my system is havoc. Static is catching and feeling erratic. Living this magic, living some rat stuff. See how to scheme and bright lies, leaning right, cleaning up my ride. Feeling double dice, we hit it twice to fight the snake's eyes. And now you think my game is strong, but what's I gonna write my lyrics like a letter? Psycho messes me as from. None of the better and never forget it. Gather and test it and then never checked it. Tattered regress, we exited, never effective, then re-edit. Born in the AV soul of eternity, rap dictated but fun converting. Kept on the chase, a little concerning, no time to waste. Time to lurking. Lioness, yes, with that pride in our chest. From the south to the west, and we're breaking the rules, running with wolves, running with wolves. Lioness, yes, with that pride in our chest. From the south to the west, and we're breaking the rules, running with wolves, running with wolves. Blinded by those living a lie, and all they ever seek to your eyes, driven by fire, given desire, see degree and emphasize. Free right, can't hide you, we analyze. Why keep walking around looking blind? Shame my head, but it's not my life. Price to pay to protect your pride. Reflect in hindsight, would you rewrite with the insight? Or let the dark side now be the spotlight for your headline? And doubt that finish line, now would you be content or rewind? Would you push that past aside to let it ride? And the say survive. What's in part of your picture calls out a pick, confess my mind revolves. Sort of where foresight people talk about the cost you vision board. Get up, you can't fall short. Teleport new skills to this new door. Support my crew, I go to a sword. I live my dream, I don't just talk. No feeling this opinion, so maybe walk on. Just take the time to wind and contemplate these words and where they're from. And now you think my game is strong, but really was I ever gone? I write my lyrics like a letter, sign commences means from.
Lioness, yes, with that pride in our chest, from the south to the west, and we're breaking the rules, running with wolves, making the moves like big cats, heroines of every track. Don't concern ourselves with scavengers, we're leaving the mouse scraps. Lioness, queen of the jungle, can't get no high now. I hope you're feeling down while we set this booth on fire. Lioness, yes, with that pride in our chest, from the south to the west, and we're breaking the rules, running with wolves, Lioness, yes, with that pride in our chest, from the south to the west, and we're breaking the rules, running with wolves, 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 running with wolves now.
Yeah, so Running with Wolves, the way it came about, pretty much, I never went to the Hunter Cup, but Mick was there. Hang on one second.
Yeah, I know. I saw him knock fucking Crispy out hard.
I've got the Guernsey over here. So basically, he did. There was a story there with Mick, but moving forward from that, Layla was there, and he asked Layla to sign his Guernsey for me.
Yeah.
And she signed on it. Kimence, keep running with the Wolves.
Nice.
And he gave it to me, and he said apparently it's a book. So I googled the book, got the book, read the book, fucking loved the book.
Nice.
It's about like wild-spirited women, then she gave the book to me. Yeah, I gave the book to Cate. And yeah, I just always had this strong connection to the word women running with wolves.
Mad. And
we got this trial sheet. I just, we were brainstorming, and I said, if we can include the words running with wolves, that's the epitome for me. Mm-hmm. And then Cate came up with the rest, and yeah.
Perfect.
And when we were filming the film clip, we had this idea. We really wanted a wolf in it, so we got this giant. Dog that was Akita. It was beautiful, but he didn't love
it.
I
got this tat for it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But the dog we ended up not being able to let us sleep.
We're not do that, yeah.
That's a big tattoo. I got tattoos there. That fucking hurts.
It was so painful. But yeah, we took this Akita out into Kaipo.
Yeah, and then the idea was
I've seen that. I've seen that. That's dope.
Yeah. The idea was Akita to sit between us, and it would be tough, but in the end, didn't want to let it off the lead because it was we're going to lose him. Yeah, and I was like, I'm not sure. But yeah, so no, he did make it into the clip in the end.
But yeah, that ultimately came from Layla.
Yeah, crazy. Really? Full circle. Yeah. All right, there we are. We'll end it up there, and that's a perfect segue into what we were just talking about off air. So, but the listeners never know until it happens.
No.
All right, peace, ladies. Thanks so much. I appreciate that.